Alright, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's been some time since I've done a video, but I've done a lot of racing in the meantime, but we're doing something new with the channel, and it kind of came about from the North American RaceRoom group, and there's been a little bit of conversation going on within the Discord channel about kind of rookies in RaceRoom and newcomers to RaceRoom, and so I kind of got to thinking a little bit about the fact that there are a lot of people who are new to sim racing or new to racing in general, and so it's really easy for someone like myself who's been a racing fan for 20 plus years to just know tracks, kind of know how to get around them. It's very easy to learn tracks because you have a general idea of playing video games and different sim titles for most of your life. You've got a general idea of how to get around a track, or you understand how to get around a track that's new to you quicker maybe than others do. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to start hopefully a series of Learn the Tracks. And so next week's endurance event is here at Spa, and it's going to be P1s and GT3s. And so we're going to do the GT3 Learn the Track here and kind of take you around. And this is by no means, I'm not an alien. This is just how I get around the track. But hopefully it helps people get kind of a sense of what they should be looking for as far as points of reference for braking and turn-in points, things like that. And then hopefully that helps you to practice and get more comfortable and join the races if you are timid as to being able to join in. And so we're on the default setup here. TC's turned all the way up, so this is everything is stock. There's no custom setup here or anything like that. One thing that I do find that a lot of new racers should really focus on is working with the default set of a car. Now a lot of people say pick one car and go with it, and you're welcome to do that, but work with the default setup and learn what the default setup is doing and be consistent with that before you start making a rash of changes to the setup, unless you're really good with setups. I'm not great with setups. I usually run a lot of the default stuff in RaceRoom. So with that being said, again, we're here at Spa. We're in the Mercedes AMG GT3, and like I said, we're just gonna take a lap around here, and I'm gonna give you kind of my cues as to how I get around the lap here. So this is the Grand Prix circuit. So right here we have the start finish line in front of us. So as we take off and head towards La Source, which is turn 1, as we approach here, we'll be looking at like the 100-meter board to the left, and we'll be coming down through the gears all the way down to second. Now depending upon what car you're in, you might go down to first, but you're trying to really turn it in here, and this is where you're trying to get to right here. So at this point here, you want to start to be opening up the steering out. Yeah, so you really want to be opening the steering out there so you can track out, but yeah, you're at full throttle at that point and you're starting to go up through the gears. Now I said depending upon what car you're in is what gear you'll be in. So like in the Mercedes has a lot of torque, so you're going to want to stay in second gear through there, but there might be other cars that don't have quite the torque, and so you're going to want to go down to first gear there to kind of get the traction and the power out of the corner. Some of it is traction control related too, so obviously as your setup goes and you get used to it, you'll be able to turn the traction control down, and then you'll be able to stay somewhat in a higher gear and get kind of the wheels spinning a little bit better. So get the power down, head down here. We're heading down towards Eau Rouge, and then up towards Radion. So you want to track back over here and be as close as the wall as you can. You want to be as close as well again. What you're really doing is setting yourself up here. So you're going to be about 5th gear, maybe 6th gear here, depending upon the car and the setup. I think the default setup for Spa's got quite a bit of wing in it, so what you probably won't run as much wing if you get comfortable with the car in a race type setting as well too. And some of it depends on the length of the race, but what you're trying to do here is you are trying to line yourself up. So what you want to do is you really want to turn in and get yourself down so you're kind of crossing this curb right here. Now if you're in 6th gear, you might want to drop down to 5th depending upon the car, just to get a little extra rotation in the car here. So where I am right now on this curb, grab 5th, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to get to about here, and you're going to start coming back across. Now I get this doesn't have a great reference point because the speed's a lot slower than it would is, but when you are actually at race speed, it'll make more sense. So you're trying to get across this curb here, which what you're doing then is you're trying to have as little steering input as you come back over Radion there, which is the left-hand portion of that, and really track perfectly here as you head towards the Kemmel Straight. So it's really about that very left-hand entry into Eau Rouge is really key, because if you get that right, and if you do end up dropping a gear or you're staying in sixth, either way, the point is so that when you come back to the right, you're able to take some curb, and again, depending upon your setup, it's going to be hard to use the curb, but in the default setup it's fine to use the curb. It's not a problem or anything like that. You can get two wheels on it and the car is not going to unsettle. But then again, so that when you come through Radion here and you come through this section, you are 100% full throttle, creating as much pace as you can going up the Kemmel Straight here. So and it's because it's a long straightaway, you can make a lot of time on a car through Eau Rouge and Radion if you do it right and your setup's right. You can really get a good draft as you head up here. So coming up the Kemmel Straight, it's really important too. You want to make sure you hit all your gear shifts correctly. You don't want to shift too early, you don't want to shift too late. And then as we head up in here into Lake Home, you're looking again for the 100-meter bore here, and in the default setup you're probably going to hit it there. You're going to grab 5th, 4th really quick, and then about here you're going to grab 3rd, and then you're going to turn in. And what you're looking for the turn-in point here is to get a little bit of this curb, not the green stuff there, but you want to get a little bit of this curb. And again, your setup's right, it won't unsettle the car. Grab just a touch of throttle, and then you're going to try and get it turned as much as you can and get over this curb here like that. A little bit of throttle here, not too much, because it's really easy to kick the back end out there because of the steering input that you have in the car. Get out as wide as you can here, turn back in, because again, you're trying to get down to that apex. You can use a little bit of curb, so if the car is feeling right, the angle I have here, you'd be able to stay flat out. Depending upon the setup though, you might have a small lift of the throttle there and you're trying to track out, so I'm a little bit too narrow here, but what you're trying to be is out like about here, so that you're coming back down and then shifting 3rd, 4th, you might be in 3rd already, but 4th all the way up into here. Now this is a tough corner here, because you're going to grab the brakes like right at the start of the curbing there, and you're going to go down to 3rd, and you need to space your shifts out. If you go down too quick, you're going to unsettle the back, and with, as you can see here, the camber of the corner, it'll unsettle the back end of the car if you grab down the shifts too quick and start putting some steering input into it because of the camber. So you have to be very careful to space your shifts out as you come into here. So you're going to get down into 2nd, and this corner kind of just goes on and on. So what you're going to do when you come in speed is you're just going to kind of grab a little bit of brake here, almost like a trail brake, and just kind of get the car rotated. And then about here is where you start looking to pick back up the throttle. Now, all of this is setup related. So if the car is pushing, obviously it's going to be harder to pick throttle up at this point, and that's going to be your telling sign. So if the car is rotating well, and some of that comes down to the brakes, if you are good with braking and using the throttle, so giving a little bit of throttle to get the car to rotate, it's really easy to do. I'm not great at that. I struggle with that. So I have to use a little bit more brake to get the car rotated, but you're basically looking at that point to kind of get on the throttle. So again, you can track out here, and then you swing back across here for Speaker's Corner, trying to get as wide as you can. You grab the brakes early so that you can turn in early, because you're trying to get down obviously to this apex here. If you can grab a little bit of curb, that's good, but the reason again is so that we can track out as far as we can without going into the penalty area, which is the green. And then we head down here, and we're heading towards Poulon, which is a really fast, really tricky corner. So as you're entering this, you're going to be 5th gear as you're entering this, and what you're looking for is probably about here. You want to grab a little bit of brake, shift down to 4th. Now what I mean is a tricky corner is that actually as you go in, so you're going to be turning, and it's really easy to turn in shallow here. So it's really easy to turn in shallow, and the corner actually tightens up a little bit. which is going to kick you wide into an invalid lap because you're going to go out into the green there and out into the gray, more than likely. So what you want to do is you want to try and have actually a late entry. But the reason why it's tricky is because if you downshift and you're carrying too much speed, you don't have the car matched to where you are within the rev range for fourth gear that you go down to, you're going to carry too much speed into there. The back end is going to absolutely slide on you, and then you're going to try and have to catch that, which obviously at high speed is going to be very tricky to do. You have to be very particular with your movement. So you want to be able to get the car down on speed, get it into fourth gear, and have kind of a late entry into the corner. So you're going to be more out here as you turn in, and what you're going to do then is you can see the car, you're able to track out, grab throttle about here, because it's a double left-hander, so you're going to come back in again. You're going to always have steering put in the car, but you're trying to get down to here. This is where you're trying to get down to as far as the second left-hander, and you still want to be full throttle here because the car will push a little bit, but it gets you out to this point here, which is still good. So then we head down here, fifth gear. You may grab sixth gear depending upon your gear, and then at the board right here. Hold on, I went a little bit far. We'll get you here. So what you want is, I still didn't go far back enough. Okay. So this pole to the left here, right by the A-frame, that is where you were looking for. That's what you're looking for. So you're gonna brake right there. You're gonna grab fourth, maybe fifth. Well, depending upon what gear you're going, you're going to go down 2 gears, you're going to go down 3 gears. But again, you want to space them out. This corner is a long corner. Again, you kind of want to late apex in, get down to the center here. And the reason being is then you can grab throttle here, which gets you over to the left-hander. Now the left-hander is the same thing. It's a late apex corner. If you go narrow, similar to Poulon, if you go in narrow and try and get on the green there, you will run wide. So you want to try and, like I said, you are entering late into the right-hander so that you can grab throttle and get yourself set up so that you come in late again here, and what you're doing then is you're cutting down, and you can see now you got a much better track out here for this corner, which sends you down into, I believe this is campus. I'm not totally great with all the corners here. Again, you want to track out wide. This again is going to be a late apex here. You're going to be in second gear, maybe third gear depending upon your setup. And again, the key is speed. You're trying to track out, and it's really easy again to get out way too wide here, but you want to ride the curbs. You want to have 2 on the track. And here for Stavalo is really important because this heads onto the backstretch. So Stavalo is a super important corner here. What you want to do is you want to, like I had, you want to be out on the curbing out there, and you want to go as long as you can and then turn in. So I'm a little too narrow here on this. So what you really want to be is like out here, and what you're going to do is, if your setup's really good, you probably could take it flat out. In a race setting with high fuel, depends, you're probably going to be a light lift through there and then back on the throttle, and you're trying to track out. So your track out is about to like here is what you're looking for your track out. Come back on. Again, the goal is to keep the steering as little as possible so that you're not scrubbing any straight line speed, because this is a slightly uphill straightaway as we head back towards the end of the lap and back towards the top part of the track. And so you're trying to really, again, match your gear shifts. Make sure you're not over revving. Make sure you're not going too soon. And as we head towards Blanchimont here, this is a super important corner. Super important corner. So you want to track out wide here as much as you can where you don't get a penalty. So I believe as long as you have 2 on, you're okay. Now, it's a really fast corner. You are flat out here. You are in 6th gear when you are coming up to this corner. Flat out is really only if your setup is correct, and you need to be very precise with your turning point so that you do not run wide at the exit Blanchimont and get a penalty. And so usually in a race type setting, and you've got full fuel or half fuel, something where there's a decent amount of fuel in the car, it's probably gonna be a small lift as far as that goes. But again, you're gonna come off early and scrub a little bit of speed, And again, your turning point is low. You want to try and come in low. You can't, since it's such a fast corner, you can't come in late on your turn, or what you're going to do is you're going to upset the aero on the car really bad, and you're going to lose the back end because you're going to be carrying too much speed and it's too much load for the rear tires, and they're just going to give out, and the back end's going to wiggle, and then it's going to, same thing, high speed similar to Poulon, going to be extremely hard to catch. So you get through there, shift up to 6th if you're not already there, and now we're looking for the braking point as we head to the final bus stop chicane here. Now a good point is obviously you go through the board here, that is kind of one, but this white line at the 150 marker is kind of where you can kind of start. If you're really good on the brakes, obviously you can go a little bit deeper on that, but again, you're trying to space your shifts out as you come down from 6th, 5th, 4th, 2nd, and again, depends on if you want to stay in 2nd or if you're comfortable enough to go to 1st. Your call. But you're trying to really arc it in here, and so you have the camber on that corner, which makes it really interesting. So you don't want to carry too much speed. You don't want to grab too much throttle, depending on how much preload you have in the car or anything like that, or how much rotation the car has. Because what you'll do is, as you grab a little bit of throttle there as you head to his left hand here, you'll kick the back end out, which will completely shoot you towards the pit entry there, those ST signs, which is what you don't want. You want it a little bit so it sets you up for the left-hand portion of the chicane, but not too much. So you want the car to be stable. So it's going to be really important to be careful as you come over that crest there with that camber, because it'll really kind of throw you off. But you're trying to get here so that you can come back across and set up so that when you get to there, you can open up and start getting on the throttle, and you are released where you have a valid lap, and then you can head towards the front stretch here, cross the line, head back towards Les Source. So yeah, this is the first ever time I'm doing a kind of lap guide, at least how I go about a lap here at Spa. And this is again in GT3 with stock setup and all the assists on and everything like that. So hopefully you found this helpful to, if you're new to RaceRoom or you're new to Spa or a GT3 car or anything like that. And let me know if you found this to be helpful for you, and if there's something else you'd like to see, different track car combination, or have any thoughts on what I could do to help in any way, shape, or form. So as always, thank you, take care, and actually I'm going to finish this off by showing you a actual lap around Spa here that I did. So yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think. Take care, bye.